Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
In the last session, we are discussing the concept of full disclosure. Now let us discuss the remaining convention. So next is that consistency. Now consistency means what? So here whatever the accounting policies and the procedures which are adopted by the business firm must be followed consistently. So here when the alternative accounting practices are equally acceptable, the accounting practices once selected and followed by the firm should be adopted year after year. For example, that here alternative accounting practices means what? Which is equally acceptable. For example, that the method of providing depreciation. Depreciation can be provided by straight line method or reducing balance method. So here both methods are equally correct. Both any method you can select. Now once you have adopted that straight line method, then you must continue to adopt the same method, and the depreciation should be provided as per straight line method only from year after year. It means that once you are purchasing the machinery, estimating useful life is 10 years. So you will provide depreciation over 10 years. Now after 2 years, after 3 years, suppose for 3 years you have provided depreciation as per straight line method. Now in the 4th year, you want to change the method from straight line method to reducing balance method. Then as per this concept, it is generally not allowed. Means the method which you have adopted should be consistently followed. Means throughout the 10 years of the machinery, you should provide the depreciation by the straight line method which is adopted from the beginning of the purchase of the machinery. Another example, closing stock can be valued at LIFO method, that is last in first out, or FIFO method, that is first in first out, or average cost method. Now any one method you have adopted means in the following years also you will also adopt the same methods. So as per this consistency concept, the certain accounting policy once you have adopted, it should be consistently followed year after year in the business, and it should not be changed in between. Now the question arises that as per in the beginning of the definition of accounting principles and conventions, we saw that the accounting principles are flexible. So if you cannot change the method and it is required to be followed the same method year after year, then this concept becomes rigid. But it is not so. That here the law permits to change the method, but the method can be changed under only certain circumstances. For example, if the statutory requirement compels you to change the method, means there is no option that you have to change the method. Number 2, if after adopting one method, then later on it is realized that the another alternative method is more reliable and the profit calculated by the other method will be more true. So in that case, the director will convince the shareholders and they will change the method. But here also there is provision that how to record this change in the books of accounts of business. So as per this consistency concept, whenever you are changing the method of depreciation, then you should recalculate the depreciation from the changed method. For example, if you have provided depreciation for 3 years as per straight line method, now in the 4th year you want to change the straight line method to reducing balance method, then as per the requirement you should calculate the depreciation from the first year as per the newly adopted method, that is reducing balance method, and you should compare the 3 years depreciation already provided as per straight line method and 3 years depreciation required to be provided as per the new change method, that is reducing balance method, and whatever the difference, whether more or less, should be adjusted properly in the books of accounts of business. So here this concept says that in order to maintain the uniformity, it should not be changed under normal circumstances, but under exceptional circumstances it can be changed also. Next accounting convention is conservatism or prudence. So this concept suggests that we should be prepared for the future contingencies. Like in the normal life, in the normal day-to-day personal life, we always make savings. Why we save money? So to meet with the certain requirements in future, or to meet with contingencies, or if anything happens and the sudden need of money arises, that we can able to cop it up with. So here, as per the conservatism concept, that if you estimate or you anticipate future loss or future expenses, you must make provision in advance. For example, you have hired an employee. The employee will serve your business for 20 years. So the retirement benefit you are going to give to that employee only on retirement at the end of 20th years of his service. It does not mean that the amount which is payable after 20 years should be arranged only in the last year, in the year of retirement. So as per this concept, whatever the amount payable to the workers on their retirement in future must be provided in advance, means from the beginning of the first year of his service. Out of the profit, some part of the profit should be kept aside and it should be reserved for the purpose of employee benefit expenses. So on retirement, the company will have a large amount accumulated with the company, so that all the amount dues on retirement can be paid very easily. And another example, that if in future there may be some loss may likely to occur. For example, you have made credit sales to a customer and you have given a credit period of 2 months. Now the 2 months are completed. Year is also completed. Even though that your customer has not paid his dues, means you are not able to recover the amount of your credit sales. Now as the credit period is over, the person has not made the payment, so the risk of bad debt arises. Bad debt means the debtor may not pay your dues. So here, on the basis of past experience, what you should do, that 5% of the 10% of the debtors are such debtors that they will not pay at all, and you have to write it off as bad debt, as a loss for the business. So depending on your past experience, you should separate some profit out of the profit of the year against reserve for or provision for bad and doubtful debt. So that reserve can be used if the actual bad debt arises. So here you are making provision for the future loss or future requirement or future contingency or for the future expenses. So as per this concept, that all possible losses or expenses must be recorded in advance in the books of accounts, but at the same time future profit should not be recorded. For example, that if the closing stock you have purchased for which 10,000 is not sold out, and if you can sell at 12,000, means the market will higher, you can sell at a profit. But unless and until it is not actually sold, you cannot record at 12,000, so it should be recorded at 10,000. But at the same time, if the market value is reduced and the cost of 10,000, its market value is reduced to 9,000, means if you sell today, then you will incur loss. So here, as per this concept, loss should be provided for. So you should record the closing stock at 9,000 and not at 10,000. So here there are three values. Number 1, cost. Number 2, market value 9,000. Number 3, market value 12,000. So in case of market value 12,000, you are going to get the profit, but as it's a future profit, it should not be recorded. But in case if the market value 9,000, means there may be future loss, so that loss should be accounted for right now in advance. So you should record the closing stock at 9,000. So it means here the rule says that closing stock should be recorded at market value or cost, whichever is lower. So as per this concept, that you should make provision in the business for future contingencies. So this, because of this concept, what will happen, that the business can be saved or business can protect the contingent requirement which may take place in future. Now what is the limitation of this concept? So every time if you are recording the loss or expenses which are not actual, which is imaginary, which is possible, so what will happen, the actual profit will be so less profit, then the actual profit will be recorded in the books of account less than the actual, because these expenses are not actually paid. These expenses may happen in future. So even though you are recording as an expense, and your profit in the books of accounts will be less. So this will lead to a creation of secret reserve. So secret reserve is not advisable because it does not reflect. It is secret in the business. So it should not be recorded in the books of accounts as far as it is possible. So this concept should be used with very conservative manner. So it should be used very less as far as it is possible. At the same time, the principle must be followed that future there should be sufficient provision for the future loss and expenses, but the future profit should not be recorded in the books of accounts. Next is the convention of materiality. Now materiality means what? Now this concept is little bit difficult to understand, because materiality does not directly reveal any meaning. Here the materiality means importance of an item or event, or importance of a transaction. For example, that you have purchased the stationery of rupees 500 during the year. Now even the year is over. Out of 500, some stationery is not used. It is lying unused. Now here you are not in a position to calculate that out of 500 rupees of stationery which was purchased in the beginning of the year, and at the end of the year some stationery unused. So it is not advisable to calculate the value of the stationery which is of a very small amount and record as a stock of stationery at the end of the year, because the total purchase stationery is a very small amount. So here the stationery should be recorded as an expense as it is consumed in the year when it is purchased, if it is of a small amount. But at the same time, if the stationery purchase is costing rupees 5,000, means it's a huge amount of stationery, and the out of 5,000 a considerable amount of stationery is lying unused at the end of the year, say suppose rupees 4,000, which you can, or 2,000, which you can calculate very accurately. So here the stock of stationery should be divided into two parts: how much stationery used during current year and how much stationery is unused. So stationery used should be recorded as an expense of the profit and loss account, and the stock of stationery should be recorded in the balance sheet as stock of stationery as an asset. So here the materiality concept says that whenever the amount is large, then it's on the basis of the importance of the amount that you should record properly. So here in the first case, if the stationery is of very small amount, it is recorded as expense. If the stationery of a large amount, then it is recorded as expense as well as unused stationery as an asset. The same way, here the repairing expenses incurred of rupees say 5,000 against a total cost of machinery of rupees 2 lakh. So here the repairing expense is nominal, 5,000 rupees against the cost of rupees 2 lakh. So it is recorded as normal repairing expenses and debited to profit and loss account as an expense of the year. But if the repairing expenses are very large amount, say against the 2 lakh of cost of machinery, the repairing expenses are suppose say 50,000. So against 2 lakh, the 50,000 means 25% is incurred by way of repairs in only 1 year. So that amount is a large amount, so it should be taken care of. So it should be investigated properly that against the cost of 2 lakh rupees of machinery, why the repairing expense of 50,000 is incurred, whether that repairing expense was necessary or not, whether that repairing expense has increased the efficiency of the machinery or not, and then accordingly it should be recorded and investigated properly. So here the materiality concept says that depending upon the size of the transaction and the amount of the transaction, the materiality of the information or the importance of that event or the transaction should be recognized and should be recorded properly in the books of accounts. So now the remaining session, in the remaining session we will discuss about the accounting standards, which are the more important from the viewpoint of the persons, those who want to know the knowledge of accounting. So we can say the accounting standards are Gita or Bible for the accounting persons. Thank you all.
Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University.